Hello again. Here we are for Driver's Ed. This is chapter 6. After this one, it'll put us about a third of the way through the book. There's 18 chapters, so this one only has 3 lessons. It's effects of driver condition. So on page 106, this one titled Emotions and Driving. So an emotion is a strong feeling. Anger, fear, and joy are examples of emotions. And emotions add a special flavor to life. You can reduce the negative effects of emotions and better manage risk by using courteous driving strategies. Strong emotions interfere with your ability to think, reason, make wise decisions, and respond appropriately to different situations. Drivers need to reduce their risks. Emotional responses like seeking revenge increase risk. Physical effects of emotions: your heartbeat speeds up, your breathing quickens, your digestion slows, your muscles tighten. And during rush hour, drivers often display more discourteous driving behaviors as a result of traffic congestion. It can cause people to become upset. So anger while driving is really a bad one. Anger is one of the hardest emotions to control. You've seen it in sporting events, here at school. If somebody gets mad, it's hard to reason with them, hard to control what they might do. Anger may cause aggression or road rage, so we'll talk about that. First, aggressive driving is driving without regard for others' safety, and then if aggressive driving escalates, then it becomes road rage. And this is driving with the intent to harm others. Anger can impair all of your driving skills. Here's some things you could do if you become angry. Try to think positively. Leave punishment to police. Your acts may only aggravate the situation. Model good behavior. Consider that other drivers may have good reasons for their actions. Other emotions in driving: sorrow, depression, anxiety are other emotions that can adversely affect driving. These emotions can also slow body processes and reduce mental alertness. After an emotionally intense event, try to deal with your emotions before you get behind the wheel. So what do you do if it's happening while you're driving? Well, so again, aggressive driving could be speeding, weaving in and out of traffic without signaling, again, with very little regard, tailgating, which is driving really close behind somebody. Just acts that are very unsafe can be considered aggressive driving. And then road rage is when you act on that anger and you intend to do harm to that other person. Maybe you physically hit your car into theirs, or you hit them from behind or something. Following them is kind of a physical thing. You're actually, you're deviating from your path, and you're going to follow that person till they stop, and then you may get out and try to inflict harm on that person. So here's some things you could do. If you do something that you know maybe has upset somebody, okay? If they're passing you, okay, don't look over at them and smile and wave and say, sorry. If you feel like you've done something, just a hand up is a common gesture that, oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that, okay? But if you look over at them, what if they're mad and giving a gesture to you? Okay, now you're mad. Did you see what they just did to me? Now you're mad, okay? So that doesn't help. Just remember, whatever they do, if maybe the person that is passing you, maybe they did something to make you mad, don't go following after them. Don't speed up to show them a gesture. Just let them go. You're never going to see this person again, more than likely, so just think, well, hope they drive safe, have a good life, let them go. Don't put danger and inflict harm onto yourself or family. Just let them go. Here's a quick story about an incident up north. Our driver's ed teacher for the teachers told us this story. And the guy that went to jail for this, his defense, his story was that, well, I thought the guy was pulling a gun out, so I pulled my gun out and shot him. Okay? So here's two drivers out on the road, freeway traffic, rush hour, who knows what's going on. And I don't know who started what, how it all came to be, but what they think is that the one guy thought, you know what, this is getting a little out of control. I'm maybe fearing for my life. I'm concerned for my safety. I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to pick up my phone and call. Now, they found no gun, okay, and he picked up his phone to call. Well, he was killed. So, of course, it's easy for the other guy to say, well, I thought he had a gun, so I shot him, okay? Whether he thought it, maybe he just saw the phone and thought, well, you're not going to get me in trouble. And anyway, so he shot him. So he goes to jail for manslaughter because of a road rage incident. So again, don't let it escalate. Don't let it, just breathe, just let it go. Passengers and emotions. If you have people in your car that maybe are talking loudly, maybe they're talking to each other, maybe they're even physically pushing, who knows. But that can be a problem for you as the driver. Remember, you are responsible for the safety of your passengers. Passengers can help the driver maintain control while driving. Here are some actions that you as the passenger can do. Avoid saying or doing anything that might distract them. Discourage the driver from taking reckless actions. Do what you must to protect yourself and others. You might even compliment them on how good of a driver they are. Effects on risk-taking, again, it just increases your chances of getting into a crash or a collision if you take risks like speeding or, well, I think I'm ahead of this car, I'll pass, or I'll turn in, or I think I can make that, and you pull out to pass, then the other car coming is too close, or so. Usually there are negative effects of risk-taking. So you want to control your emotions, use that IPDE process, anticipate, emotion-producing situations and adjust your expectations. Again, somebody passing you, don't avoid eye contact, okay? Just put your hand up, don't look at them, just let them go. Try to adjust your route to avoid irritating traffic situations. If you're tired, make special effort to manage your emotions. Analyze your mistakes, try to learn from them. Keep courtesy as one of your personal rules of the road. Okay, number 2 is physical senses in driving. Some of this we did talk about a little bit. So obviously more than 90% of the information you gather while driving is received through your eyes. Obviously, if you're blind, you cannot drive. And a little interesting thing on the eyes, so we have the eye chart. You go to the doctor, driver license division, they give you the eye test. So 20/20 is considered perfect or good vision, right? So what that means is you can see at 20 feet what you're supposed to see at 20 feet. When I was younger, they tested me. I actually had 20/13, which was I could see at 20 feet what you were only supposed to see at 13. I don't have that now, but anyway, on the reverse side of that, if you have 2600, that means you can only see at 20 feet what everyone else can see at 600 feet. It would probably be letters, this big that you could see from that distance. Well, 2600 is legally blind, so they might see rough shapes, lights, but 2600 is legally blind. Let's see, so field of vision, again, that's just everything out in front of you, what you can see. Central vision we talked about, that little cone. The peripheral vision, okay, remember these. Fringe vision, things off to the side, so maybe driving down the freeway, there's a deer off to the side of the road, okay, that would be in your fringe vision. There are some people who they don't have 180 degrees. It's narrower, okay? So if you were moving your fingers and you had to move forward to see them, then you might have some form of tunnel vision where it's a little bit narrower for you to see. Color blindness, I usually ask if there's anybody in the class that's colorblind. Not a problem, you can still drive a car. We'll talk about color blindness. No, we already talked about it, sorry, with the street lights, okay? The diagonal, or horizontal and vertical street lights. They're in the same order, so that a person colorblind would be able to know exactly what light is on. Again, depth perception we talked about, night vision. So there are some people who can't drive at night. That's a restriction. Those of you that have your permit, or you could look at a parent's license, and it will have a thing about restrictions. So if you have to wear glasses to drive, it'll say corrective lenses. If you maybe have a problem where you can't see at night, then it would say that on the restrictions. So glare, resistance, glare. Sun comes up in the morning, goes down at night. If you're heading right towards it, that would obviously be some glare. Glare from headlights coming towards you. Remember not to just stare at it, the car coming. Look off to the side, be aware of where you're at, just look off to the side so that you don't get blinded. Because if you are looking, there's a bit of glare recovery time that you'll need, okay? Vehicle speed and vision. So the faster you go, maybe the harder it would be to see things. It says objects off to your sides become blurred and distorted as your speed increases. And they call that, this blur is speed smear. I don't know if that's a real major concern, but other senses, hearing. So the question, what about somebody who's deaf? And yes, if you're deaf, you can still drive. I had a student a number of years ago that is deaf, and I drove with her in the car. I made this symbol for stop, and then I would point what direction I wanted her to go. If there's something I needed to tell her, once we got stopped, Ruth Corbridge, who's here at our school, basically went through school with this young lady and did the signing, cued signing, I don't know what special kind. Anyway, so I would tell her what I wanted her to do, and then Ruth would sign for her, and then she would say, okay, she understood, and then off we'd go. Smell is important. If you have, say, your brakes are heating up, or you have a, something burning in the engine compartment, you can smell that, and that might alert you to stop and get that taken care of. Sense of motion, I don't know, that one's just, the feeling of moving, I guess, certain sensations that you have. Managing sensory distractions. So audio could be a distraction. I don't know how people listen to their stereo when it's just really, really loud. I mean, when I pull up next to a car and my car starts vibrating, I think that's way too loud. I think I still have pretty good hearing for my age, and that's because I never listen to my music loud, okay? Most of you know I like music. If a song is really good, I like it, I may turn it up. But it's not just, so loud that things are vibrating. I don't think you can enjoy it when it's that loud. Cell phones are a distraction. Again, for you guys, the rule is that you cannot manipulate an electronic device while driving. Now, it used to say no texting and driving, okay? Well, the problem with that is that maybe somebody was texting, and the policeman came up and said, hey, you're gonna get a ticket for texting. Oh, I wasn't texting, I was calling my friend, I was pushing the buttons. Well, that was legal. You couldn't text, but you could call. And so they made the change where any manipulation, so if you pick it up, you're manipulating it. So for you guys, you can't be on it at all. For somebody like me, I could have somebody make the call and then I could talk or whatever. So, and some of you are thinking, what about hands-free? And we'll talk about that later as well. Okay, number 3 is physical limitations. So a disability is a diagnosed physical or mental impairment. First, we have temporary disabilities. You could be fatigued, very tired, some kind of temporary illness or injury. Maybe you've got a cold or the flu. Or maybe you have like a broken arm. Had a student just, last week that we drove, had a problem with the left leg. Now the car's an automatic, so that was okay. They're still able to drive with the right foot, gas, brake, gas, brake. So, certain effects of medication. So if you do have a cold, maybe you're taking cold medicine or you have allergies. Some of those pills can cause you to be drowsy. So make sure to be aware of which ones would cause that problem. Effects of carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide is the exhaust that comes out of the car. It's odorless, colorless, and if you start feeling lightheaded and the car is running, you might be getting feeling the effects of carbon monoxide, and it can kill you. So any holes or problems in your exhaust, catalytic converter, muffler, tailpipes, all of that. If there's a hole and it comes up into the passenger compartment, that's very bad. Smoking can be a distraction if you're trying to hold on to it, put it out the window or whatever. Cars always used to have a lighter in the car, but now I don't think you even have a car that has a lighter that, the little thing, you pop it in and it would pop out when it's heated up, and they could light their cigarette, and an ashtray in the car. I don't even think they have those anymore. Permanent disabilities. So again, everybody knows Brian Wade in our area, and he had an accident a number of years ago and lost the lower portions of his legs. So that's a permanent disability. So in his vehicles, he has alterations, the pedals, handles, different things that allow him to still drive. And so if you are a person that has one of these conditions, you can go to a place, it's a facility, and they can test you. And if it's possible for you to drive, they will make every effort to do that. I remember watching a program that this guy had no arms, and he was driving with his feet. He proved that he could do it, and they allowed him to do that. Aging, okay, as people get older, they lose some of the ability, reaction time slower, vision, just thinking about things might take a little bit longer. So my words to you guys, be patient. It'll be you someday that you're a little older, and be patient with those people. My mother is 91 right now, and she still drives. My old driver's ed teacher, Phil Robison, 95, I think, 96, and he's still driving, as far as I know. Okay, then a chronic illness is some ailment that lasts over a period of years. Maybe just something you can't get rid of, but anyway, if there's any way for you to continue to drive, those things can do that. So we'll do this test on Monday, so this Friday would also be a B day. So chapter 6, closed book on Monday. Thank you.